one, right? We are actually live on Facebook and YouTube tonight. We're trying something new, so this is going to be live. So, welcome back to Uncle Jimmy's podcast, where we sit down with real stories, the kind that don't get polished for the spotlight, the kind that remind us we're all just humans trying to hold on when life tries to tear us apart. Today, we have the honor of welcoming a mother whose heart has been shattered in the most unimaginable way, yet who refuses to let the brokenness silence her voice or dimmer light. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit slow because it's tough to get this out because this is going to be a story, guys. You're going to want to hear this. So Kimberly Davis, she's a writer, a creator, a Southern girl with the story that cuts straight to the soul. In 2024, she lost her son, just 16 years old, Darian, in a tragedy that no parent should ever have to face. Beaten to death, leaving her to plan a funeral no mother ever wants to prepare. In the aftermath, grief didn't just visit, it moved in, reshaping every corner of her world.
Mm.
But Kimberly didn't let it end there. Through her raw, honest writing, including the book, Confessions of a Southern Girl, she turned pain into purpose. She speaks openly about carrying love and loss all together, about faith that holds when everything else crumbles, about trauma healing that's messy and nonlinear, and the quiet courage it takes just to show up on those hard days. Kimberly, from the depths of my heart, thank you for trusting us with your story. Thank you for being willing to go raw, unfiltered, and real. Your journey isn't just inspiring, it's a lifeline for anyone who's ever had to learn how to breathe again after the unthinkable. Welcome to the show. We're here, we're listening, and we're grateful you're here.
Oh my God, that almost brought tears to my eyes. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I'm really excited to share my story, and I'm more excited to just share it with somebody that don't know me locally and to get it out because, you know, my whole purpose is helping others.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, right? We go through so much in life that oftentimes helping others becomes the big thing, right?
Right.
And sometimes we get stuck in our own little ways in our own little world where we only see ourselves, right? And the biggest thing for me is in a world of 8 billion people, right? That's how I became my second season. In a world of 8 billion people, I'd
Mhm.
love to have on 8 billion people and get everyone's journey of life, right?
Right.
Because
Wow.
it's so inspiring. So I,
Yes.
I I love to have everyone on. So Kimberly, take us back to that devastating moment in 2024 when you learned about your son Darian. What was the first raw thought or feeling that hit you, and how did you even begin to process the impossible?
Ooh, okay, so let's take it back. It was October the 17th of 2024. And I was sitting at my desk at work and I got a call from an officer. He said, "Are you Kimberly Davis?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I think you need to make it to it's called Coffee County Regional Hospital." And I was like, "What's going on?" "Your son has been transported there." So in that moment, like my mind was saying like you got to go, but it was like instantly everything stopped. Like my body stopped. But my mind was like, get up, you gotta get there. And I jumped in my car and I drove as fast as I could because from where I work it was like 45 minutes. And I was telling the person that was with me, like, it's a connection that I feel with my children. And I kept screaming at him. I was like, I can't feel him. I can't feel him. I can't feel him. And I finally made it to the hospital, but they wouldn't let me go back. They say when we got him stable enough, we'll let you see him. And I just sat down and I was like, it was like almost like the stuff that you see in the movies, you're like, how am I here? Like it was almost like this is not happening. Like
Yeah.
this is not real. Like it was like
Now,
life
Kimberly, they
was
don't tell you they don't tell you like what happened to him or nothing, just that he's been hurt.
that's it.
And
But
you said
I
you said
was
as you're driving, right? You
yes.
can feel it like
I
he was
couldn't feel
gone.
it. I couldn't
Couldn't feel
feel.
him anymore.
Yes. So
Like,
I was like, this is bad because he had asthma. And I was like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. I can't feel him. Because usually, like, if he gets in despair, my way, because he was 16 and he has an older brother, and my way is like when they're away from me, I just kind of sit back and I breathe. I'll be like, okay, they're fine because I can still feel them. I don't know if anybody else has that type of connection, but I do. And I just couldn't feel him. And me coming from a medical field, I knew when they did not tell me on the phone what happened, I already knew it was bad because they don't want you to get in a wreck trying to get there. So
yeah.
that's why they leave that part out. So I knew that. So from that moment, they shipped him to the Children's Hospital in Savannah, Georgia. And, I couldn't go with him by helicopter, of course, but someone drove for me. And when I made it there, they had him stable and he was, I was like, okay, God, like, because he was on the vent, but they was telling me that he was breathing over the vent. So I was like, okay, we're in there. Like, he's going to make it through this one. So we stayed there 5 days. And on the fifth day, he he was doing good. He was breathing over the machine. And then like on the fourth day, he kind of plateaued. And I remember standing in the room because I sent my whole family home because I just felt like I wanted to be with him. And I was just surrounded by so many people and it was so much noise. And I was like, I just need to be with him.
Just you and him.
Just me and
Yeah,
him.
it's just too much going on, family, friends, and everyone's trying to help, but there's a
Yes,
lot going on, right? And it's just too much noise, too much noise. So you
exactly.
wanted that time just you and him.
Yes. And he would probably be so mad at me with what I'm about to say because he loved the movie Moana. And so I kind of just laid in the bed with him and I watched that with him. And even though he wouldn't respond to it, I just held it up to his ear and I was like, we're going to watch this together. And when I got out the bed to go take a shower, my back was turned to him. And I remember just looking and I was like, God, like, if you take him, like, I don't know how this is going to go. I was like, it's going to go one or two ways. Like, I'm going to turn my back on you or I'm going to run to you. So I got in the shower, I cried, and then he he flatlined that night and they brought him back and they let me know that he didn't have any brain activity. And because he was a child, they have to do the brain dead test twice. And we did it that morning and it was no brain activity. And then 8 hours later, we did it again. I called my family in. I was like, y'all better get here. And they confirmed that he had no brain activity. And I remember like we were finna get ready to take him off the vent. And my youngest son, someone sent him a video of my child being assaulted while we were just finna take him off the vent. And I was like, oh my God. Like it was just so brutal. I just couldn't even believe what I was watching. And my first instinct was to call back to the county that I was from and let them know, like, this wasn't an asthma attack. Like, this was an assault.
Yeah.
And that's when everything changed. Like, I found peace when I felt like, okay, like the asthma just got the best of him. But when the video came, like, it was like my whole world shifted in.
Yeah. And someone sent that to your youngest son.
And it's my youngest son because the kids were bragging on Snapchat that and I don't know if I can use the N word, but anyways, they was like, we killed that N word. And I was like, this can't be real. Like,
Wow. And were they white kids that did it?
no, they were actually black kids.
Okay. Okay.
They
Yeah.
were actually black kids.
And so when your youngest son does, when he gets the video, does he run in to show you, like, what's his reaction to all of this? And how old is he?
He is 15 now.
Okay.
Um,
So he was
so
13 at the time? Yeah. So and so he sees this and it must be like, he's 13, seeing his brother getting, beaten to death. And what's he saying? What's he saying about everything?
so the thing about that was him and his sister was at home. He sent the video to, it was me and my oldest son and his dad and all of those people at the hospital.
At the
But my
hospital.
youngest two were at home. So he got this video at home and sent it to me.
Oh,
So I
so
wasn't actually there to embrace him with what he was feeling, but thank God that, it was another family member there too.
there to make sure he was okay. Not okay, but you had eyes on him. So before I get to the next question, right? What so what happens after that? Is there an investigation? Do kids get
Yes.
arrested? Is it all of that? And are you okay
Yes.
with talking about that?
I am. I
Okay.
am.
Okay.
So, like I said, I called back home and I let them know what I had. I sent the video, and they instantly made arrests. It was, I think at first, initially, it was two people they could not recognize on the video, but by the time we left Savannah, they had everybody behind bars, and like it was just like we have all this going on, and my oldest son was just really not taking it well, and he was lashing out, so he got arrested during his time because of course everybody's
Yeah.
angry at this point. And I
Yeah.
just remember the police coming to my mom's house to pick up my oldest son because he had threatened one of the people in the video. And I mean, it was like about 10 cops out there, and I just remember I was like, please don't hurt him, just dropping to my knees and begging my son. I was like, please, I can't lose another son right now.
Yeah.
Like, please just calm down. Like, we got to let God handle this. And in those moments, I was just like, I was like, I chose God. So I got to have enough faith that this is going to work out the way that he said, because he said vengeance is his. So they took him to jail because of a terroristic threat. And at this time, GBI and the cops are asking me questions, but I'm having to plan a funeral too. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and then I'm still in a moment of stillness. Like
Yeah.
it's still not registering to me. The only thing I knew at this point is to fight. I got to get this out. I got to let people know what was going on, because they arrested them, but then they released them. And then I was like, this is not happening. So I started going to the local news stations. I was like, this is not going to happen. And I just kind of put my voice out there. So it kind of threw me into that advocate role. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't have time to mourn my son right now. I have to fight for
Have
him.
to fight for him. Yeah. But you couldn't even process all this, right? Because there's so much going on, and it's crazy, right? To think. So why did they release them? Was it because they said they were minors, they were kids, or
So they released them because it what was the clause that they released them? They were charged wrongfully. Like it was something that I was like, no, this is not gonna work. Like, I'm not going for none of this. But it was some about um I don't want to lie, because the case is still pending too. So I better be,
okay?
but the
Yeah. So
minors,
there's only
the
so much we
minor
can say and talk about when it comes to that. So we can,
right.
we can head on to the next question, because I don't want to put you in jeopardy, or
Yes.
anything, the case or anything.
Yes.
I believe, that if you do something like that, you deserve to be put behind bars for the rest of your life,
Yes.
because it's such senseless, right? I don't know how
Right.
old the kids were that did it, if they were even kids or young adults, but here you are now planning a funeral, right, for your 16-year-old child. How for Darian, how did that surreal reality force you to confront grief in ways that you never imagined that you would have to?
So I think I didn't probably confront my grief until like 8 months later, to be
Yeah.
honest. Because I was just moving and I was being an advocate. I was making sure like everything was done and nothing was getting not done. As far as the case and stuff like that,
Yeah.
making sure my other kids were good. But when I finally had a chance to sit about 8 months later, it was I was just like, because not only am I grieving my son, I'm grieving a part of myself that was a mom of four. Now I'm a mom of three.
Yeah.
Not only am I grieving that, I'm grieving the life that I pictured for him.
Yeah.
And this is something that when I slowed down, I realized because I couldn't, I was like, I just can't figure this thing out. Like, what is happening? And as I prayed and went to God with it, He revealed like these things for me. He was like, "You're not only grieving your son. Grief is so much deeper and wider than this. You're grieving yourself. You're grieving the pain that
A
your other
feeling.
children are feeling. You're grieving the grandkids that you dreamed of having one day."
Yeah.
So it taught me that grief was just not the loss of a loved one.
Yeah, it goes with it all, right? And
Mm,
obviously being a mom, so here
yes,
you are trying to take care of your well-being and mental health, right? And you're worried about your other 3 kids now because they're going through this, and it's a lot, right? And then the impending, court case come there's so much that's going on, and, you jump right in the advocacy, right? You jump
right,
right into that, boom, roll, like, "Hey, we're gonna get justice for him. We're gonna get justice for him." And I hope when the case comes that justice is served,
right.
you know, because it's just not, it's unimaginable. So you've said, right, that healing hasn't been linear. What
Mhm.
are some of the hottest backslides you've experienced? And I think what pulled you through them was probably God, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My faith,
Your faith.
definitely
Yeah.
my faith.
Yeah.
So I would definitely just questioning like faith in general. Like, okay, God, like you want me, and realizing that just because I have faith does not exempt me from the pain. It doesn't exempt me from the hurt. It doesn't exempt me from me being angry with God because I feel like you took my child. So definitely that part of it, like it not being linear. 1 minute I'm good. Like in this interview, I could be talking as strong as I am now, but it could be something that triggered me and I'm a mess.
Yeah.
So you have to just flow with it and allow yourself to be in whatever moment you're in.
Yeah. Almost meet yourself where you're at, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't expect too much, but you can't expect too little, but just right where you're at. Just be in the moment. So faith has remained an anchor for you. Were there moments when you questioned God, got angry with him, or felt abandoned? And how did you wrestle back that trust?
Yes, definitely. The moment in the hospital when I was like, before he did the plateau, I was just like, God, why are you doing this to me? Like before this happened, like I'm like, God, I prayed for my kids. I covered my kids. I did all the things they say that we're supposed to do. Like, what do you mean? Like, what didn't I do? And like, how am I supposed to trust you after this? So, and it just took a lot of prayer and going within, honestly,
Yeah.
and letting God kind of soften the blow and trusting in that. Because when I couldn't feel anything else, I could feel God.
Yeah.
And that might, sound strange, but it is the honest to God truth. When I felt like, God, I wish I need somebody to hug me right now, or it was like, it is so even to this day, it still blows my mind because I was like, how can a God that I can't see comfort me as
Yeah.
much as I feel in this moment?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, you're going through all this. What who is besides God, who's your one of your biggest supporters that you had that was always there for you?
I
You
would
know?
have to definitely say my daughter.
Your daughter.
My
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
She's
You've
17 years old. Her name is Kaylin. And she's the one that's like when it's those moments that I can't get up out of bed and I might not even feel like showering,
yeah.
or I just want to draw back from the world. She's like, "No, ma'am, let's get up. Let's make it through it."
She
And
won't
she's
let you. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And to think, right? 17, right? And
17.
she's been through so much as well, the loss of her brother and you know, um, but just making sure mom's okay, right?
Right.
Because usually it's the other way around. Mom makes sure that everyone's okay, right?
You're
So
right.
it's touching, it's heartfelt to hear that, and a big shout out to your daughter for being the you know, um adult, right? Of growing up and probably growing up too quick because of the situation, but she had to and for being there for you. That's awesome. So, in Confessions of a Southern Girl, you explore how trauma shapes us.
Mhm.
What parts of your own past traumas resurfaced or intensified after losing Darian?
Definitely that I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
That was something I had to deal with and process. And I thought that I had healed. But when I lost my son, I was like, what didn't I do? I wasn't good enough. Like I didn't watch, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't attentive enough. I wasn't this, I wasn't that. So that brought that part up again within myself.
Yeah. In society, right, often pushes the narrative of moving on after loss. How do you define carrying love and loss at the same time? And why is that distinction so vital?
Oh my God. I think that's the worst thing people can say is moving on after loss, because the thing is you do not move on. You grow with loss.
Yes.
Because just because you lost this person or this part of yourself, like that love was still there, and love never dies. Love is always going to be there. So you move instead of like moving on. No, like I'm going to grow through this, and I'm going to grow with love, and I'm going to grow with my laws. So I
Yeah, I bet you've wanted to smack some people some days when they tell you that, right?
yes,
Mama Kimberly coming out, you don't wanna see that, you know? So, some days you're so strong, right? Some quiet, some just showing up. What does just showing up look like on the days when grief feels the heaviest?
getting up and brushing my teeth,
Yeah,
getting up and washing my face, getting up out of my bed and putting my feet on the floor.
yeah,
That's all.
that's all, yeah. Yeah, and what I love, right, what you just said is the biggest thing was getting up out of bed. Everything you said started with getting up out of bed, so that's everything I've been through, just imagine, we
Yes,
all as humans just wanna lay in when you're going through so much, you just wanna lay in bed, you don't even wanna get up, but with the push
exactly.
of your daughter, and she probably the day she's not there, it's probably in the back of your head, you can hear her, so it's, "You gotta
Right.
get up," you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
So you speak about rebuilding life after everything changes.
Mhm.
What's one practical one tool or habit that's helped you rebuild even in small ways?
I think my being creative, because I love to tell people, and the people that I engage with on my social media platforms is when I speak with you guys, I heal a part of me. So if I'm able to create something, I have did retreats, I have did Zoom classes, just giving people it raw and real. Like we got enough of, you really gonna get over it. They always giving us hope that we're gonna take this class and we're gonna be done and we're gonna be fixed. No,
Yeah,
when you step into my sacred space, it's never like that. It's like, hey, we meeting you where you're at. So it would definitely be my creativity and my writing.
yeah,
um oh my God, my writing has been, because I'm a strong believer, like get it out of here, get
yeah,
it out of your body, put it somewhere constructive,
yeah.
and writing has been that for me.
Yeah, it's almost like releasing it, right? I say it all the time, from mind to, pen to paper, right? And almost you
Yes.
get it out, right? And it feels great. It feels great. Um, so grief, right? Grief after violent loss. And you can answer this, you don't have to answer this, because it's the case is still ongoing.
Mhm.
So grief after violent loss like this often comes with unanswered questions and injustice. How do you sit with the lack of closure or answers in Darian's case? And you don't have to answer it in
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally understand what's going on. So
Yeah. So I will answer this because the three kids that were involved have already been charged. So
yeah,
I'll speak on their behalf. We're waiting on the adults to go to court. So I created with that, I was like, it's a loophole in the system. So I created Darian's law. And in this law, because they didn't have, okay, so first of all, they didn't even charge the kids with murder, right? They charged them with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And so it was just like, what? Like, okay, so that pushed me to say, okay, it's a loophole. So I created Darion's Law because I was like, if kids are committing crimes on videos like this, like they should be punished for the crime. So I'm actually in the process of taking this bill to the House. I got my sponsors, I got my state representatives to back me. We have to, write up the bill. But I created Darion's Law because I feel like, and I know this is a very controversial topic about giving kids more time. But like I try to tell people, the kids that we were or even our moms were are not the same kids that we are dealing with today. So
today.
how are we going to try to uphold a law to the standards of the kids that we're dealing with now? That's never going to work.
Yeah.
Things are going to get worse.
Yeah, and if the the way it seems with the way the law is written, right? So the kids get a slap on the wrist,
5 years.
5 years, and then they come out and they do it again. You know, so it's just not right. It's not fair. And I would love to, if there's anything I can do on my behalf, writing some representatives or anything like that. I would love to help out in any which way that I can, because I think that's a great thing that you're trying to do and push for,
I
because
have a petition on change.org and
yeah,
it's called Darion's Law. If you can push your listeners to
yeah,
sign the petition for me, I'll share the link with you as well. But
please. Yeah, share that with me. I'll get it out to my social media, and we'll send it everywhere we can. And that's the big thing about the podcast, right? Of having that platform, right? And I'm very grateful that you've come on. You're sharing the story. So as a mom, right? How has
Mhm.
losing Darian changed the way you parent or love your other children, or the way you think about motherhood now?
Ooh, definitely. Oh God. So definitely I am so intentional. Everything that I do within now, I am very intentional because, of course, being a parent, the last thing on your mind is losing a child,
Losing
right?
one.
So you kind of just move through the everyday motions of being a parent. So now I'm intentional, like I'm very intentional. I'm making sure that I am hugging them, I am embracing them, I'm taking that moment to pause, like, okay, is it anything we need to address? Are we all okay? Like, do we need? So, one of the things that I created in my home is on Wednesdays, we have family night and we come in and we discuss like things we want to do in a year, like vacations, museums, whatever we decide that we want to do in a year. And it also opens up the floor for them to say, hey, I'm having a problem here. I'm having a problem with this, da 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 da. So, we opened up that and I definitely just I try not to helicopter them because my first instinct it was to pull them close. And I have
Yeah,
a son that is 22 years old. So, I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. So it definitely made me more alert about the things that was going on. It made me more attentive to the things that they were saying to me.
yeah,
As and before I might have just been like, oh, okay, you'll be all right. You're a child, you'll get through it. Now I'm like, you might need to sit and listen with this.
yeah, yeah. And what about not wasting any time, right? Not wasting any seconds that are left,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
that's one of the biggest thing I learned going through everything of, I always say we have an hourglass, right, of sand that's ticking down in our life, and it's imaginary,
Mhm.
but none of us know. So
Right.
it's almost like, telling your kids you love them today, giving them that big hug every time you go to bed. And, it's powerful. It's powerful.
And that's one thing I just want to say, like, I'm grateful for because the night before everything happened, we all were in the kitchen. I was cooking and, I hugged him and we talked. And because he would always come in my room and kind of lean over my bed and talk to me about whatever he had
Yeah.
going on. And that morning before he actually collapsed, when I left to go to work, um, I was like, because I asked him what they want to eat for dinner, I was like, what y'all
Yeah.
want to eat? And he was like, Mom, I can't eat. I'm fasting. And I was like, don't forget to pray while you fasting. So I am so grateful for those moments. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that even before his death, God kind of slowed me down to be more attentive with my kids.
To be more
And
attentive and present. Yeah.
so
So what's the most unhelpful thing people have said to you in grief? And what's one thing that actually brought you comfort?
that is going to be okay. Like, what? No. I think that is, and I know people mean well when they say it, but that is like, what?
Yeah,
No, it's not gonna be okay. But but definitely that is gonna be okay.
yeah.
No. And the one thing that I think is just someone that listens. Like, I don't need you to tell me anything. Sometimes I just need you to listen. And that has been the most helpful thing for me, is just having that person there present and just to listen.
Listen, yeah. Yeah, I had a guy on the other night, Laverne Friesen, who said, holding space, right? Just hold
Yes.
space for them. Just be there.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
listen, just hold space, and that's so true in a lot of things that are going on in people's lives. We were talking about mental health and all that, and one of the things was just holding space for them, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes, right, Kimberly, what you're going through, people may not know what to say, right?
Exactly.
So if instead of saying, "Hey, it's gonna be okay," right? Because
Right.
you want to turn around and punch them in the face, but instead of saying anything, just sit with them, give them a hug,
Exactly.
and listen
Exactly.
to what they have to say. So you focus on healing, right, through storytelling.
hmm
How has writing become your lifeline, and what truths have you uncovered by putting pen to paper?
I realized how hurt I really was and how broken I really was when I started writing. I was like, I couldn't say it out loud, but like you said, when I put that pen to paper, I was able to put it there. And when I read back, I was like, wow. Because, being a mom, like, I do have to hold it up, and I still have to be a mom, and I still have to make sure my kids are okay. So a lot of things don't be said.
Yeah,
But when I'm sitting in my quiet place and I have my journal and I'm writing and it's coming out and I have a chance to read it back, I'm like, oh wow, I really am hurting, you know?
yeah.
And
Must
what
have been a
was
lot of powerful, powerful stuff in there.
yes,
You know,
definitely is. What
I'm
was the
not
second?
asking you to reveal it, but I could show you my corner. If you look in my corner over there, those are a lot of my journals, and
Yes.
I just journal. I just, and I say it often, right? The
Right.
journaling for me.
And
Nobody will see what's in there. Nobody will see what I'm writing because it's for me, but it's powerful.
yep. And then the other half of that is I realized that I could create the life that I felt like I lost through a story.
Yeah,
So that was just once I realized that, I was like, wow, like, hey, let's do this.
let's do it. Yeah, and it's almost like a form of healing, almost for you, right? Writing.
Yes.
You know, and where can people find the book?
The book is actually on Amazon. It's actually on
Perfect.
Amazon. And I had a quote that I said like years ago, and I'm a strong believer. Like, sometimes we have to go back to our childhood and remember those things that brought us pleasure.
Yeah.
And for me, when I did that all those years ago, that was writing and reading. So that was something that I picked up. I was like, this is a space where I can say that I'm happy no matter what's going on in my life, when I'm
Yeah.
reading and when I'm writing. So
So trauma and grief, right? They can make us overcompensate with guilt, shame, or anger. How have you learned to recognize and release those patterns?
definitely by being present in my body.
Yeah.
Definitely by being present in my body.
Yeah. And I think the big thing too is mind, body, and spirit, right?
Yes.
And I tell people all the time they intertwine whether you want to believe it or
All
not.
the
You
time.
know,
All the time.
I say it oftentimes, right? If my mind's telling me yes, but my gut's telling me no, it's a no.
It's a
You
no.
know,
It's a
it's a
no.
no because my gut knows. So, what does faith after profound loss look like for you now? Has it deepened, shifted, or become something entirely new?
Oh God, I think it's all three of those. It's
Yeah,
shifted, it's new, it's deeper. Like, oh God, it's just, I tell people, like, I knew God, and I thought I was being like, I just thought I was being like the good daughter that
yeah,
God wanted me to be, right? But when I lost my son, the depth that I found, it was just like, what? This is it? This is
yeah.
what? This. So it's definitely, it did all three. It
All
shifted,
three.
it deepened, it It just did all three.
and it was entirely new,
It was new.
that new feeling.
It's new because I feel like it's new because I walk with this newfound authority and strength,
Yeah,
knowing that as long as I have God on my side, like I am gonna be okay. And when
yeah,
you like and you embody that, you move different.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, you move differently, you speak differently. It's powerful.
right.
So you talk about the strength found in telling the truth. What's the scariest truth you've had to tell yourself or others since Darian's passing?
That people are really only there when, in the thick of it, right?
Yeah,
After that person is gone, everybody goes back to their normal life, and you are there to sit with yourself, baby.
yeah,
So figure it out at that point. Everybody will say they will be there and they will try to be there, but a lot of times when you're going to need somebody, they're going to be busy.
yeah, yeah. You're very lucky if you go through something like loss. That there's usually maybe one or two or none.
Hmm.
You know, you probably have one or two. I mean, you have your kids still, but one or two friends that have always been there that will constantly be there.
Yes.
Maybe not. But I lost my dad, my mom. And I've had a few people that are still there. But
Yes.
not like it was.
Yes.
You know. So community support and wellness have been part of carrying on Darian's legacy. How has leaning into others or allowing them to lean on you changed your healing?
I definitely think it caused me to go deeper and to realize that this was a part of my life that I did not need to keep to myself because it could help others heal.
Yeah.
And not only while I'm helping others, it's like reciprocity. I'm giving to them and they're giving back to me as well and helping me on my healing.
Yeah.
So I would say
Yeah.
that.
So for someone freshly grieving a child, what's the one piece of advice you wish you had heard early on?
The one piece of advice is that I don't have to be strong. You don't
Yeah.
have to be strong.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah. That's
Not
that.
even if you got kids, you don't have to be strong.
Yeah. That's powerful right there. Because most people think, you lose your husband, you lose your kid. Gotta be strong. You gotta be strong. You know. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, I think it's when you try to do that, right? Be strong, and that's when you hold it all in, and then 5, 10 years down the road is when trouble
Yes.
happens. So being able to get that all out. So a couple more questions before we end. So how do you honor Darian's memory without letting grief define your entire identity?
I honor my son's memory by remembering like just him as a whole and just how loving he was.
Yeah.
So that reminds me like I can't get bitter. I can be angry
Yeah.
and I can be sad, but I can't get hard. I can't shut people off because he was just like a ball of light. Like I promise you, like if like when he walked into a room, he had a smile that would lighten it up. And he himself would be going through things, but he just had that charisma. So I always remember like his smile.
Yeah.
And I created for Forever 16 Wellness, the Darien Project, to give people spaces to come into, to know like, hey, you can be yourself here and you can let go, and like I'm gonna pour love into you, and we're gonna get through this thing together. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's touching. I can see the smile on your face when you were talking about his smile when it comes in a room. It's almost like it's right there in front of you, and you
Right.
can still see it. And so, looking back, what surprised you most about your own resilience or about grief itself?
I think what surprised me the most is that about myself was I was strong enough to be a year and some months out and my mind is still intact.
Yeah.
And what surprised me about grief was because I didn't, like this is something that I didn't know. I lost my dad, but it was different. And I didn't know that you can grieve so many things. I was like, I just thought grief was literally like the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
But when I got here, it showed me like, no, baby, like grief have so many different levels.
Yeah.
So,
It's like once you stop pulling back that layer, right? There's so
mm,
much more under it.
yes.
So, last question. If you could speak directly to other mothers walking this road right now, what would you say to give them hope for tomorrow?
Do not blame yourself. There is nothing that you could have done to prevent what happened. You did your best. You were a great mom, and try not to beat yourself up about what could have been.
Yeah.
Stay out that bowl, stay out of it.
Yeah. So, Kimberly, thank you truly from every corner of this room for opening your heart so wide today. Your courage to speak the unspeakable, to hold love and loss in the same hands, to keep showing up even when it hurts. It's a testament to the unbreakable parts of the human spirit. You've reminded us that grief doesn't erase purpose, it reshapes it. That faith can hold us when nothing else can. That storytelling can heal, not just the teller, but everyone who listens.
Mm,
To every listener carrying a loss that feels too heavy, you don't have to be strong every day. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep breathing, keep loving, keep showing up one messy, honest moment at a time.
mm,
Kimberly's journey shows us that light can still break through the darkest nights, that love outlasts even the deepest sorrow. Kimberly, you are a gift to this world. Keep writing, keep speaking, keep carrying Darian's light forward. We're better because of you. Folks, if Kimberly's words touched you, seek out Confessions of a Southern Girl. Let her story meet you where you are. Until next time, this is Uncle Jimmy. Hold your people close, honor your pain, and
mm.
never stop believing that healing is possible, even when it feels impossible. We love you all and God bless.